This program is proudly brought to you by Daytech Limited and the National Information and Communications Technology Authority. In this edition of Infocus, we are joined by the PNG Chamber of Resources and Energy's Executive Director, Richard Kasman, and Manager Policy and Analysis, Erin Poru. Our discussions touches on national content, reforms in the mining industry, and the upcoming PNG Resources Week, set to take place in July. Mr. Richard Kasman and Erin Poru, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Now, firstly, I'd like to get your thoughts around this prevailing perception that PNGCORE primarily represents the interests of industry as opposed to the broader welfare of the country. Is that a fair assessment?
That's not inaccurate, but an excellent question. And how I'll respond to that, Malcolm, is just go straight to our mission, which says that the mission of PNGCORE is to create understanding, generate knowledge, and forge relationships which empower Papua New Guinea to capture sustained nation-building benefits from its natural resources. So this encapsulates the essence of what we do. And we've worked hard at that mission to respond to that perception and expand it. But of course, as a business, as a business association, we do represent our members. We represent their interest and advocate for their interest. At the same time, explain to our members the aspirations of the government of Papua New Guinea and her people. So we play a medium role in that, and that's a very important part of our role. And we're fortunate that the government respects us for that role. If, for example, we were just one-sided, we would not have the success in our advocacy with government. So we have to interpret some of the aspirations of our people and encourage discourse so we have a better understanding of both from the investor's perspective and our people's perspective as well.
Based on recent publicity and recent development within government and in the private sector, there's a recurring discussions around national content. For our viewers who may not be familiar, what is national content and why is it important in 2026?
The national content refers to the participation of businesses registered and based in Papua New Guinea. An important component of that is the land owning companies in the project area. But to start off with, it's about businesses in Papua New Guinea across the wider supply chain. It's very, very important to understand. The second part is a focus on the areas of workforce development, training, and development of our human resource capacity. That's the other. And then there's a third pillar, and that is the pillar of community development. And invariably, the resource projects are in underdeveloped areas of our country. So projects must work on basic services like health, education, schools, and then community development projects widely. And if I can, and just touch on so for our viewers, the understanding, the government of Papua New Guinea, particularly our current Prime Minister, talks about enhancing or improving the take for Papua New Guinea. So it's important to understand, Malcolm, that Prime Minister is referring to equity, which is important, taxation, royalty, and levies, that type of benefit, and at the same time, he is really keen to ensure that we optimize national content opportunities for our people, our businesses, and the country and the wider economy. So these are there's three components of national content, but it's important that we appreciate that there is this wider context that the government talks about, which is our take, our equity, our taxes, our royalties, and the greater business. And I think that's what's important for our viewers to appreciate, and we introduce this into public discourse on the very important matter of national content.
Now, Erwin, from PNGCORE's perspective, what has industry done to promote national content with your advocacy initiatives as well as your programs that you run yearly?
So in PNGCORE, perhaps let me also go back to the work that was done by government in formulating the national content policies. And they have done that over the last years in consultation with the industry as well, and PNGCORE was part of that process. And it was important for PNGCORE to have an input and also to contribute to this discourse on national content. And if I may also add that national content, if you look at it from a global perspective, it is an initiative that is driven and it is an initiative that now it has expanded vastly. Countries, particularly those that have resource companies, are now looking at the in-country value. They're looking at what the pillars in which Mr. Casman has mentioned about skills development, workforce development. These are added values for national content. And PNGCORE and the companies have, in their ongoing operations, have done their part in not just contributing to the policy development, but in practice, they have individually have gone ahead and tried to implement the different aspects of national content. And I would speak for also some of the major companies, those that are already operating in Papua New Guinea. It is a global requirement as well that they need to do that and report on what they have done as part of their global reporting initiatives. And they do publish reports, sustainability reports on the different aspects of the contribution that they have been doing in skills development, in workforce development, in terms of employment and business development, where that is important. And for PNGCORE, also as an organization, what we try to do is we look at the policies that the government have put forward. One is the national content policy that the Department of Commerce and Industry has launched in 2025. They call it the overarching national content policy for the resources sector. There is a sub-policy also that specifically talks about the petroleum sector. And for PNGCORE, what we did was we worked with the government and we did look at those policies. We developed an industry policy statement as well in line with that. And it is important that the companies that and our membership have to also drive the initiatives that are within the government policies and within our industry policy statement. And that is on the policy, that is on the policy statement. Importantly is the upcoming event that we will have, and we call it PNG Resources Week, but in there, as part of the program is the discussion on CanConnex. CanConnex is or comprises of, we call it Community Affairs, National Content, and Expo. And so during the PNG Resources Week, during the event, that will provide a platform now for companies to tell their stories on what they were doing, what they have contributed, and learn from each other as well in the discussions around the initiatives that they are driving, the impact that they're providing upon the communities, and also have that opportunity for government and businesses to interact. So basically that's where and what PNGCORE is doing in terms of national content.
Now, Erwin, I'd like to draw to the major reforms currently undertaken by the Marape Rosso government. Under the Marape Rosso government, they've embarked on what they describe as a one-stop shop reform agenda in the mining industry. The government is realigning policies and institutions to create a streamlined integrated service center for investors. The reforms will include centralized licensing and permitting, modernizing exploration rights, introduction of retention licenses, removing of red tape, amongst other reforms. How prepared is the industry for these reforms?
That is a good question, Malcolm. The industry, firstly, have been working closely with government, and we all understand that it is government's prerogative to formulate policies, to amend laws where it sees it's best suited for Papua New Guinea. And then the industry have been, closely working with the departments responsible in looking at the areas, the provisions, the different sections of the bill, and the discussion is ongoing. And it's important that we highlight that we are not against the bill or the provisions that are proposed. We are working collaboratively on that. And we also would like to see changes in that. The industry would like to see things improved. We modernize our licensing processes. We want to ensure that the changes are practical, are commercially viable for investors to come in and contribute and contribute to our economy. So PNGCORE has been working closely with a responsible government, and it is important that also in our upcoming events, an update on where we are, where we now sit with the mining bill, with the mining legislation, the proposed changes. This will be highlighted also when we have the responsible minister and the government agencies in the forum. We would like to see those changes also, and it's important that this event sort of provide that platform for them to come and we discuss that, the details of the mining bill.
What Erwin's answered in your question regarding the mining, and that extends to the petroleum sector as well. So the government's part of its overall reform agenda in both mining and petroleum. And if I could move to the petroleum side, government and Prime Minister and plus Minister Maladina have been committed to reform in that space. The first set of reforms that have come through is the passing of the National Petroleum Authority Act, and that's in place now, and the government is working to finalize the authority. It's going through a recruitment process, and it's picking up its resources and capacity and what's going to happen. So it's transitioned already, well advanced in the transition from the Department of Petroleum Energy before, and the Department of Petroleum, now to the National Petroleum Authority. So that is advancing, and very soon we'll see confirmed appointments of a new management structure when a lot of the staff transition across. So the industry is looking forward to that. So that's the first part of that agenda, which is the creation of an authority. There is discussion on changing Papua New Guinea's licensing regime from a concessions and taxation regime to a production sharing contracts regime. So this government created a white paper rather. We have, as an industry, met with government, met with our members, responded to the white paper, and now the government is preparing policy, but the intention of the government is to move quickly from policy to draft legislation. And we are aware that both the Minister and Prime Minister have a target to have this legislation brought to Parliament in Q4 of 26. So it's an aggressive and ambitious target, But what's important is that there's been effective consultation to date. The importance of that, and we encourage the government to continue this effective collaboration and consultation, and particularly the industry is looking forward to some of the more structures on and terms of the PSC regime that the government has in mind, translating what was in the white paper to propose some terms that's interesting and important for the industry to look at, comment on, and the industry will give very quick response in whether they believe it's viable or not viable. So that's coming along. But we as a chamber appreciate that the Petroleum Ministry has been at least more engaging in its consultation process. So we support the government's agenda, as Owen said. We're not objecting to the importance of reform. We appreciate this is very much the prerogative of government. What we're saying to government is, let's put the frameworks in place, let's start to discuss it, and then we'll come back to you and hopefully develop legislation that is suitable and won't cause any negativity, and importantly, Malcolm, won't cause investors to shy away from Papua New Guinea. We have resources in both the mining sector and the petroleum sector that is being the exploration areas that have been well discovered, and now we're waiting for the projects to move along. If the legislation is poor, then they won't proceed. So we're saying to government, let's develop this. It's not a one-sided thing for the industry, but what is a win-win, and then the projects will go to the next phase of their development. So yeah, we're encouraging that consultation. That's really key to us getting good legislation for the government and the people of Papua New Guinea.
And if I may also add to the mining sector, similar to the petroleum, which Mr. Kessman spoke about in terms of the institutional reforms. I think on the mining sector, there's been great progress made also with the merger of the Department of Mineral Policy together with the Mineral Resources Authority. They have done that institutional change. They have passed the MRA Act in one of the previous Parliament session, and they have now a board in place as well, which have been absent for a while. And with that institutional changes that have come on board, the industry is confident of the capabilities of all the regulators to effectively have oversight over the industry, and that is important both on the changes that are happening in the petroleum sector and the changes from the Department of Petroleum and Energy into the National Petroleum Authority, and on the mining space as well. So those are important changes that the government have progressed so far. So it's commendable.
Now, I'd like to draw to the respective PNGCORE events that are scheduled to happen in July. I understand that the PNG Resources Week is set to take place at July 13th to 16th. Could you tell us about this event?
So, the PNG Resources Week is one of the platforms that PNGCORE has established, and it has been a premier event that brings together our members, not just our members, the companies, but a wide range of stakeholders, including government. And that has been a successful delivery of a conference with various other activities that also align to the week. We call it the PNG Resources Week. So basically, the PNG Resources Week comprises, on the first 3 days, starting the 13th, 14th, 15th, what we call Can Connects. So that is the discussion on community affairs, national content. Those 3 days will specifically discuss presentations and activities around that. Following the 3-day event, then we will have a resources summit. And the summit is when we have project updates. We will have the respective ministers for petroleum, the minister for mining and energy to address the companies. They'll talk about the policies that they've worked on or that are being developed, or an update on those policies and legislation and other key government direction. And then we have our companies providing an update on status of the projects, where they are, some of the challenges, and it is a summit on its own, and that is on a Thursday. Following the PNG, as part of the PNG Resources Week, again we have the Can Connects, and then we have the summit. And in the evening of the summit, we have what we call a gala dinner. And during the gala dinner, we have industry awards presentation. And to the extent we have also legacy awards in which PNGCORE announces individuals who have contributed to the sector in various capacities, and we honor those individuals during the dinner, gala dinner.
I understand you'll be hosting also the PNG Golden Expo. How does it relate to the PNG Resources Week?
So we have, from day one, companies will set up their exhibits and booths from Monday, and we've encouraged them to run it from Monday to Saturday. So there'll be the normal booths during that time, and then on Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, we will now turn a focus to what we call the Golden Exposition, Golden Expo. And that's really focused on the next generation. So PNGCORE has invited directly 3 tertiary institutions in Port Moresby in the Central Province, to secondary schools, inviting grade 9 to 12 students to come in on excursions from the schools. And this was a very successful part of our expo last year. So we'll have them come in. The focus is for the next generation to learn about the projects, learn about mining, learn about petroleum, learn about energy projects and that are taking place in our country. At the same time, get a better understanding of the larger supply chain that's required to develop these projects. We've asked on those last couple of days that the companies bring people with more HR focus, because we want the students to engage at the booth to talk about job opportunities, career opportunities, and scholarship opportunities as well. And we want the students to go away with a better understanding. It's not just about geologists and engineers. There is a wider scope within our projects, and these are very important messages and aspects we want to get across to students who can look at a wide array of opportunity if they think of a wide career in our industry. So Thursday and Friday very much focus on schools coming in. There'll be an overlap with the summit, and we're hoping for some interaction between the ministers and companies there, and that's what we're encouraging. And then on the Saturday, the expo will continue, and we're very focused on the general public coming along. So the first 2 days is schools coming along and students coming with their teachers. Public are still encouraged to attend on the Thursday and Friday, but very much on the Saturday we are developing ways to really attract mums and dads to bring their children, participate in the expo, walk around, and for parents as well to get an understanding of what is available in our sector. And Malcolm, one of the key things, I attended the Saturday sessions last year, and I talked to a couple of families, and one family said, you know, this expo gave my boo-boos an opportunity to know what I was doing when I worked for the mine. And I thought that was a really important aspect, because our children don't know what we do when we go to work, 28 days on, 28 days off necessarily. So coming in and looking at what PNG LNG are doing, what Octedi are doing, what K92 are doing, dives in and gives the next generation an opportunity, builds a sense of pride. Now I know what Dad does, I know what Mum does, and that we want that to pass on to the other generation. So that's on the Saturday, very much open to the public, and we're hoping families can come along. Staff, for example, if I can shout out to EMTV staff to take time off and come, bring your children along, and talk to the industry that's present, and then look for the opportunities, guide what could be career opportunities. And it's not just about jobs, it's about influencing younger people to think wider than what they may be thinking of now, and say, wow, I always wanted to be a doctor, I always wanted to be a lawyer. I look at mining engineering, I look at petroleum, I look at geology. Maybe I didn't think of that. And if that's the sort of conversations that happen, then we're hitting our outcomes that we're hoping to achieve. So it's the next generation, Malcolm, the next generation. So Erwin talked about our legacy awards, where we've recognized Papua New Guinea's heroes, and we've recognized some outstanding Papua New Guineans that contributed to the development of our industry. These are the heroes. We're trying to get the current generation of staff in the industry to recognize and praise and understand the contributions made by those before them. And then on that, the Thursday, Friday, that's on Wednesday night, on Thursday and Friday, then we're now tuning into the next generation. And this is what I work for. This is why I go to work every day, to try and make sure that the industry attracts the best of our talent in Papua New Guinea. And there's a lot.
And just to reflect back on how we did the expo last year, in 2025, we had a 3-week period of expo, and for this session we've realigned those to be just under a week, together with the conference and the expo together. Last year we had almost 10,000 students that walk in through APEC House, and that was a huge number of students. And this time around we are expecting a number of schools who have already confirmed to participate in the expo, and talking to potential the companies and potential employees as well. Delegate numbers, we're almost 1,500 people that have registered last year. We're expecting the same sort of number of people coming in. It is going to be a huge, a massive event as well, comprising networking events after conferences, and you have the opportunity to talk and network, and businesses for them as well to link up with other potential clients, business opportunities. Yeah.
Erwin Poru and Richard Casman, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, that ends this episode of Infocus. Do join us again next week Monday on our regular time slot of 7 p.m. Till then, bye for now. This program was proudly brought to you by Daytech Limited and the National Information and Communications Technology Authority.